Welcome back to Hollywood North Radio. This is Saturday, September 8th. I am your host, Big Sleeps. My co-host, Kaylani Rose, is in the building. She's also our DJ for today. Quiet Storm is enjoying a wedding. And we are now at the point of our show where it's our feature artist of the week. He goes by the name of Rahul Kohli. He is a British actor who's now here in town for 5 seasons. He's been on the television series iZombie. Rahul, welcome to Hollywood North Radio, man.
Hey,
Much
Thank
appreciated.
you for having me, man. Such a pleasure to be here.
I was trying to get you and Malcolm on from the jump, but you guys were on off season when we started. You guys were on hiatus, and man, I'm so happy and so proud to have you here, man. Your work is incredible, as Ravi.
Thank you, man.
On the show, and as you can see, like it's just pure hearts on our Instagram. And for those of you who haven't followed Hollywood North Radio, follow us at Hollywood North Radio on Instagram, and you can follow Rahul at Rahul Kohli 13 on Instagram, and that's RAHULKOHLI.
Nailed it.
13 on Instagram. Like once again, when I say welcome to the show, when I say it with a lot of love because I've known you and Malcolm now for over 5 seasons.
Yep.
And
you were on the show.
Yeah, and I was on iZombie.
You were like, "Who's this dude, man?" You made that. You crushed that scene with Rose in the precinct.
I really appreciate that, man. And that was, I think, a lot of times it's like you meet people and you meet I guess when I say actors, they're artists, and you meet a lot of people. And sometimes, you're gonna vibe with them or you're not gonna vibe with them. And you guys have just been like, you guys are so down to earth. And for you, and you're real, you're real, and I love your Instagram and the things you post. Sometimes I'm like, wow, the network just knows that's just Rahul.
I worry about that sometimes, man. Honestly, like I'm just me, and I don't know yet how much trouble I can get into. Like at the moment, sort of, when I'm not, the lead of a massive. Like I'm not in a Marvel movie. I'm not, there's not millions and millions on stake on whether or not like I bring their brand into. I embarrass them. So right now, I don't know if it's basically I'm not getting in trouble because no one cares.
But your charisma, though, I think they've realized like that's Rahul, and thank you because it shows a total different dynamic from the character that you are and for who you are as a person.
I guess, I think it's they don't care.
Yeah, no, but it's so entertaining though. Some of the stuff that you posted, I'm like, I'll go, okay, there's 1. There's 2, there's 3, and I'm commenting, and I'm like, I gotta slow down. He's gonna think I'm stalking his page.
I always get your DMs with the approval of a post. I appreciate it, man.
And being on iZombie, how has that changed your life on a whole? Because you auditioned for this while you were actually still in the UK.
Yes, it changed my life drastically, like beyond recognition. I was just basically out of work. I went to drama school at 18. I'd never acted before, and I just decided, I can do this. I think I can do this. And I got into drama school, and once that had finished, then it was, right, okay, let's try and book a job. And now I think I was 21 when I came out of drama school, and then iZombie didn't come around until I was 28, and there was nothing in between. But I was still auditioning. So I was living at home with my folks in the same bedroom I grew up in, making $100 a month, if that, just doing like retail work and working in a gym, stringing tennis rackets. And then iZombie came around just when I was really kind of losing faith in myself. And
that's where I was going to ask you.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
What kept you going for those 7 years?
Stupidity. A few things. I think first there's got to be a shout out to my folks. I think my folks made my situation as comfortable as possible. Had they have decided at 4 years prior or 3 years when I was 24 to, like, get out of the house, you don't pay rent, get out, get into the real world. I don't know if I could have stuck around long enough. I don't think I could have made rent. I don't think I could have. So number one has to be my folks. I think my folks really allowed me to keep that dream alive, and made me as comfortable as possible. I mean, they didn't give me money, but they just made sure that I wasn't owing £600-700 a month to some landlord, you know.
Right.
Little things like that, like that's a big deal, and I still owe them for that, and I hope to one day repay them. My partner, Yaz, again, someone who I met when I was 20. Oh,
She's awesome, man. I like her.
Yeah, Yaz is
She's
cool.
great.
Right? We went out drinking with.
cool.
You went out drinking with
Hell
my
yeah,
mum
a couple times.
We
Hell
got,
yeah.
we got my mum a big bottle of vodka, and we went. But Yaz, she met me. I was 23, and I was the guy with that dream, and she never expected anything off me other than just to be myself. Like, there was no kind of demands of like, hey, why have we never been abroad? Why have we never been on holiday? Why is your first gift to me a drawing?
Because you do draw as well.
I do,
You're
yeah,
an
a little
artist.
bit. Thank you. Yeah,
He's being very humble. I've seen some stuff that we were sitting down. We were trying to like work on a project that I was working on, and he started just drawing out the scenes, and I was like, okay. He's like, yeah. So if he was this guy, and then this person, I was like, wow, this is dope. He's like, I just doodle. I
now all I do is just like, if I'm thinking of a character, I tend to draw it out to visualize it, so it gives me an image, and then it's
even a character that you're gonna play, or
yeah. I'll always draw them out. So I drew Ravi in a diary I kept for prep, where I wrote in the first person and gave him detail and backstory, but I also drew the kind of look. So I had him drawn with a beard and big hair and this and that, and exactly. and
he's sitting right here.
I'm like, oh look.
But like because I never really grew beards back. I did a bit, but it was I was usually clean shaven when I was going up for work. But I wanted this guy to kind of be a bit scruffy and not care about his appearance, more so about the work, and the CW approved that look, and yeah. So so yeah, the drawing does come into it, but yeah, going back to Yaz, like, when I couldn't buy food, I remember she'd finish her shift at work and she'd come to mine and she'd bring me some McDonald's and maybe some underwear because she knew that I couldn't, so she really supported me too. So these people all kind of helped me on that journey, and then when iZombie came along, I was able to strike and put my best foot forward and take that opportunity, and it's paid off. So I owe a lot to my parents and to Yasmin.
That's amazing, man. And you know what? I think a lot of people forget those little things, and for you to even bring that to light, man, that shows a lot about your character.
Oh, I forget all the time, man. I honestly do. Like, it's I was about to tweet something because I was feeling it this morning, which is, particularly in certain industries, you spend so much time looking ahead at your goal, looking focused right there, that you never look to the side at the people holding your hand. Like, all it becomes is it's about you, your craft, this, that, focus, drive, motivation, the hashtag from LeBron James, strive for greatness. That these are they can become very insulated, like, things for you that you forget sometimes. Like, oh yeah, shit, you're there with me. You're the one dragging me forward, and you forget sometimes to look to your side and spend time and give your full attention to those people. And I've been lacking in that for a few years now. I don't call home as much as I should. Even when I spend time with Yaz, the phone's out, or I'm, and it's trying to find that balance, and that's what I'm trying to do now.
Well, that's great though. Yeah. I mean, see, you're a man that owns it. You own it. You own it.
Like, a lot of people don't have that awareness.
No,
sure.
not at all.
Yeah, and I can see why as well. It is daunting, Like, even when iZombie ends, which it ends this year, it's very hard to not think about yourself and go, I'm out of a job. Like, on a basic level, I'm out of a job come January. Like, I'm unemployed. What do we do? What do I do? Is this my last job? What can I book? How hard do I have to work? Shall I do pilot season? So, like, it's very hard to not only think about yourself. So it's very tempting. It can happen, and I'm trying desperately not to. I'm trying to make it. What can we do? How do we go forwards as a family, as a partnership? So.
You
Right.
sound like Sleeps right now. You should hear him in the car after every show.
I love that about Sleeps. Sleeps is driven, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, they do get the big "I have a dream" sleeps. They get the big speech. It's like it's big speech. It's not even big sleeps. It's the big sleep speech.
The big sleep speech.
So I can
But,
see how you guys jam.
Yeah.
But and that being said, though, I mean, you've been very lucky. You're a gamer
Yes.
and you enjoy video games.
I'm wearing this t-shirt right now.
There you go.
I am a big gamer. Gaming's more to me than just a hobby. It's the only thing that snaps me out. Like when we're filming out here, I can't watch TV and film, man. It does my head in. I can't switch off. Like I'm so much more aware while we're working of the camera move or a choice that an actor made. In the hiatus, I catch up on all my shows and film, and I'm able to just put it down and enjoy it. When I'm filming, it's just like watching more work.
Right, exactly.
Gaming is not the case for me. Gaming is pure escapism, and I need it, especially when you're out here on your own. You're always in a new city. You're always on your own. A lot of people, particularly the more social people who need that, it can really bum you out. You know. Luckily, I don't need that. Like, if everyone goes, like, for 4 years, everyone went back to Los Angeles for Thanksgiving. I don't. That's 3 days I don't shower. I put on a game. I don't need anyone. I'm like, fuck it. And then just sit there and play the game, and I'm happy. I'm in my element. So I've always got that to fall back on. So gaming's it's a crutch for me, you know.
And you also obviously have other projects. Is there any projects coming up that you could talk about right now?
I can't talk about them right now.
Okay, well,
yeah, I've signed pieces of paper that could get me in a lot of trouble if I talk about it. But I am working on a couple of projects. I've been working on one of them for 6 months and the other for the last month and 2019. I can talk
well, congratulations! I can't wait to hear about those.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that at least be able to for you to come back or whatever we can do what we do on Instagram and talk about that kind of stuff right here on the show. And I wanted to ask you one more question.
Sure.
And the question was there ever a time where, because now you're playing Ravi, you're a mortician?
Yeah, a medical examiner, yeah.
And was there ever a time where you felt kind of like typecast?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the amount of terrorists I've been up for before iZombie, the amount of scripts I got from from my agent back then, my old agent, where it was like, it's your parents want you to be in an arranged marriage, but you're not. You don't want to because you're more Western, and your girlfriend's she's white, and it's the same shit, and it was that was like that. And Ravi was an interesting one because when I read the casting brief, you know, there is a nerd culture to that guy. There is, like, you know, he's the smart dude, the intelligent one, the brains of the operation, and that in its own way can be a stereotype if you allow it to be. Yeah. Luckily, I think the creative team and myself were on the same page of like, well, no, just because he's intelligent, we don't have to rely on ethnic stereotypes or anything like that. And we leaned more towards his British self rather than his Indian roots. And I know from tweets and Instagram and stuff that people from the Indian community appreciated that he felt more real, you know?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Especially we have we were talking earlier, we have a massive Indian population here in Vancouver and BC, and I think that, you know, there's a difference though, because people's hard work changes writers' minds. Do you know what I mean? Like whether they have an idea of what this character's supposed to be, I think it's the work that someone's will put in that makes them go, yeah, maybe, yeah, you know what? Let's write something that's more towards him. And that was a conversation that we had talked about before, but I'm a firm believer of that. And like, I watch you, you're fucking hilarious on the show. And there's a difference between somebody who's just a good actor or believing that person's the character.
Well, I mean, yeah, there can be on certain projects more of a hybrid, like more of a collaboration with that. Like, things have changed for Ravi that weren't necessarily in the earlier vision. I mean, firstly, just off the you know, out of the gate, this guy was supposed to be way older. This was meant to be the old mentor type Giles character from Buffy.
Right.
And just based on them liking my audition, they kind of was like, well, he's 28, we can make that work. And then other things started playing into it, like the style of humor and using Britishisms and stuff like that. But it was, in terms of the humor, I don't really bring much to it, man. I mean, and I'm not just saying that to be humble. The writing on our show is fucking good. And Rob Thomas, Diane Ruggiero Wright, Dan Etheridge, and an entire creative team from the start their scripts are hilarious. It's not. I've worked on other jobs where you get the script and you have to get a pencil out and you have to cross things out and you have to say that word followed by that word doesn't work, or this line doesn't make sense. On iZombie, you never have to touch a single piece of stationery. It's sheet music. It's like you come in with your, and we all do that. We come in with our violin or our cello or whatever, and we sit there and we just play what's on the page, and it works as a symphony. And that's iZombie. So not to take anything away from the acting department and our show, everyone does bring their own thing, but just on a foundation level, it's sheet music. It already works. It will help you. If you're not that experienced, our script will make you look better than you are out of the gate.
And I have to agree. When I saw the sides for the one, I was like, this is dope. Because a lot of times I'm like, I would never say that. And it actually works for the kind of character that I had to come in and play.
Yeah.
So I don't remember actually ad-libbing anything, actually, to be totally honest. Because I always throw something in if I feel it's needed. And you're right. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And, go ahead.
Also, apparently, there's no audio on my Instagram feed. Why is that? Why does that happen? So I'm not that good on Instagram.
Did you turn it down?
I don't know. Is that? I thought that was our volume.
Yeah. Can you hear it now?
Is there? Hey, they said the sound's not on. After all of that, I gave such lovely messages. Is it me? Maybe it's me. Oh, we're gone. Well,
I think mine's on too.
They could just watch me talk.
Or you guys, they can go to @HollywoodNorthRadio, but they can't hear us.
Yeah.
But
we'll see what happens. There we go. I've put something on. Sorry for that. Yeah.
That's all right. And if not, if you guys want to catch the rest of the what you missed, go to @HollywoodNorthRadio, and you can watch it live when the show's over. Mm-hmm. And we're over at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I would like to move on and get to the part that gets nice and fun, because this part of the show is called The Soundtrack of My Life, and Rahul Kohli from iZombie is our featured artist of the week. And we're going to get into the soundtrack of his life, and how it works is Rahul picks 5 songs that describes him as a person from where he was to where he is today. He breaks down what that song means to him, and then we play it. So we're going to get into that right now. So Rahul, let's talk about your number 5 song on the soundtrack of your life.
All right, well, the first one is Lady Gaga, Bad Romance. Mm-hmm. And the reason is that song is mine and Yasmin's song.
Okay.
When it came out is when we first met. It kind of tied. We were colleagues at work, but we first hooked up at a club. Okay, so that actually, I think that song was playing in the club. Like, it was out then. So that song has always represented us, our relationship. It's not Bad Romance. That's not an analogy for that we're toxic together. It's just been it's just been a soundtrack that's always played and she comes up over the course of this journey in my life. Her name will come up a hell of a lot because of her support and because of how instrumental she's been to driving me, supporting me, being there for me. So I wanted to kickstart that, because I think she's the baseline of the entire story.
All right, so there we have it. The number 5 song on the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life is Lady Gaga, Bad Romance, right here on Hollywood North Radio, where the celebrities come to play. And we are back on Hollywood North Radio. That was number 5 for the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life. It was Lady Gaga with Bad Romance. But it's all good.
I bet you guys weren't expecting that for my first
No,
song.
because
But come on, that's a tune.
it is.
Really good.
You can't even front.
Yeah.
It is a tune.
No,
Lady
I have
Gaga.
to say your soundtrack, your set is probably the most eclectic so far. I'm really excited to hear the stories behind the rest of them.
It was tough because if it was your 5 favorite songs, completely different list. I think only one would make it. So I was struggling. I was like, well, how do I tell this story? Or what? You learn things about yourself when it becomes about the meaning behind it. That completely changes why. Because like Guns N' Roses Don't Cry is probably one of my favorite songs ever. It didn't make this list because there isn't a story behind it other than I really love that song. So Bad Romance isn't on my top 5 favorite songs ever, but it has more meaning. So it was a tough list. It's a tough thing to try and do.
I love getting storytellers to tell stories about themselves. It's bomb.
You know, and what I love about this part of the actual show is doing the countdown and finding out more stories. Because the Wikipedia stuff, you know, you have to kind of do it just based off the fact of like people know and so on and so forth.
Sure, yeah.
But I like having the story to go, okay, let's find out who this person is. And I like that's why I like doing the soundtrack of my life. You know, and it's funny because I was trying to find something different when I first started doing the show. And I was like, what can we do? And I was driving back from Seattle from a Seahawks game, and someone said on the radio, you know, it's kind of like the soundtrack of my life. And I went, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
It's a great concept. I mean, it's one thing. I mean, there are a few people I know that are like, hey, jump on my podcast or do this. But like, not to say I needed persuasion to hang out with you, but like the concept behind that, like coming in and doing that was so tempting. I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Like it adds an extra, it's like a cherry on top. It's like, yeah, that's
Okay,
a fantastic
dope.
concept.
Thank you very much. So now, for those of you who just tuned in, Instagram always cuts off, just for everybody who know. It cuts in and out only because certain songs are played, and for some reason it loves to do it on mine. And yeah.
That copyright thing, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those copyright things. But we're gonna move on to the number 4 song on the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life. For those of you who are just tuning in, he is the actor on iZombie who plays Ravi, and what's his last name?
Chakrabarti.
Yeah, see, I wasn't even gonna go there, right? So for those of you who haven't checked out the show, they're on season 5. You know, start from the beginning. It's a wonderful show, and you know what? I believe this is the last season. Is it?
It is.
This the
Yeah,
last
we're done.
season?
We're done after this, season 5.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tune in and watch all 5 seasons. And, well, 5th one's not out yet, but we'll catch up. And do you have a date when that's going to be out yet?
No, I assume we've always been a mid-season show. So I would next spring probably, if it follows the same patterns.
All right. Okay. So now, let's move on to your number 4 song for the soundtrack of your life.
I don't remember my order. I think it's Dr. Dre and Eminem, Forgot About Dre. That's right? Yeah. So this one...
Dope.
Right. There's a few reasons why this is on the soundtrack to my life. I heard this. This was my music awakening. So I remember where I was when I first heard this track. I was at my grandma's house, and my cousin from America, she was visiting, and she had the Marshall Mathers LP in 2001 on disc. And I didn't know who Dr. Dre was, and I didn't know who Eminem was. And she played them to me, and Forgot About Dre was the first song I heard, and it just changed. Like from there on in, my love for hip-hop came in. And hip-hop for me has been my Batman cowl. Like, it's what I use. It's my fight music. It's what I use when I'm going to auditions. It's what I use to get in a mood. If we're doing an action sequence on the show, the headphones go in. It's hip-hop. It's what puts a fire in my chest. And there's something about hip hop, in particular in terms of art and industry, about it usually comes from working class people. It usually comes from people from poverty who have a dream. And there is an element of battling and fighting, because in auditions and stuff like that, it's usually 7 or 8 actors in a room sitting in a waiting room with their sides waiting to go in. But really, you know, we're fighting for the role.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But it doesn't have the same ferocity. Like, it doesn't have the same intensity as a battle rap or growing up in a certain area and having to have an element of fire to get to where you need to be. So that's why hip hop and acting for me have been, because I do focus on the battle side of it. And I did, especially when I was broke. I'm looking at the guy across from me in that waiting room, going, "You're stopping me from eating." Mm-hmm. You know, I ain't got no money. I haven't got my opportunity. So it was my way of blacking out, staying focused, and Forgot About Dre is probably still my favorite song. It's still my karaoke song. And like I said, it's the other side to me. It's the darker side of myself that I have and embrace from time to time. Forgot About Dre.
All right, so there you have it. The number 4 song on the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life is Forgot About Dre, Dr. Dre and Eminem, right here on Hollywood North Radio, where the celebrities come to play. And there you have it. The number 4 song on the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life was Dr. Dre and Eminem. Forgot about Dre.
Can we just take a minute to talk about the production of that song?
Yeah, 100%.
That beat, that it's so there, and it's funny with that one when that plays. People you don't think who you wouldn't strike as hip hop fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Like my sister, the lawyer, this beautiful, straight-laced, if she hears that, every word, every lyric. Same goes for the cast of iZombie. That song, it just captured everyone from a certain generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so dope. But I mean, you got two of the greats, like the greatest of all time in hip hop, and they found each other, and then they gave us 50 Cent.
Yeah.
You know
I like
what I
to.
mean?
It's purely, in my head, but Malcolm's my Dr. Dre, Malcolm Goodwin.
So that's dope.
And I feel like we do have this. He has this calming effect on me because I am mental and like especially like at work or when we go out. He's been like my big brother on iZombie, and I want to say things I shouldn't and do things I've been advised not to. Mac's always been there calming it and going, you know what we should do with this energy? Let's write this script instead. Let's put you out there. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like he's kind of kept me under. Even my parents are aware of it. They're like, if they know something's happened, they're like, go speak to Malcolm. Like they know he's taking care of me out here in America. Like
That's wicked.
Hopefully we're going to take over the world one day together. But yeah,
That's dope, man. And I'm sure you guys will. You know what I mean?
we'll see.
All right, so let's move on to your number 3 song for the soundtrack of your life. We are doing the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life. So now we're going to move on to number 3. So let's talk about that.
Okay, so there's a few reasons why I'm attacked this song from different angles, right?
Okay.
So one, it played in a film. It was the intro music to a certain film, and in the film there were certain moments that I relate to, but it also became a song that I use at certain periods of my life. So it's Kavinsky Night Call. Okay. So that played in Drive at the beginning, the aerial shot of Los Angeles. There was something about that song. There's a sadness behind it. It's a weird one. It hypes me up, but it also it kind of bums me out at the same time because of the images that link to it. And it's Gosling driving around in the city alone, essentially. And he walks into an empty apartment as a certain part of the music plays, and there's nothing there. There's no family, there's no home, there's no nothing. And he puts his bag down and walks back out and hits the city again. And when I saw that film, it was around about the time my career started to gain a little bit of momentum. Okay. Not iZombie, but I got some big commercial ads. I got my first line in a soap opera. But what was happening was, I think my first decent job flew me to Prague, and it was the first time I had to fly for a job, be in a hotel. And I know that sounds crazy now because it's something that's so normal, but being alone in a hotel or in a new city, that's now become just part of the job. But it was new and something to adjust to, particularly with iZombie. That song kind of became my comfort blanket, which was be you, there's strength, there's and the lyrics as well, there's something about you, there's something inside you, it kind of settles me a little bit, and it's so weird, it's so hard to describe why I connect with that song. But I was petrified of flying, absolutely petrified of getting on an airplane, and I would have that song play the minute the wheels start, like when the acceleration starts on the land. That's where I'm like this, right? But I have to go and do my job, and for some reason that song, traveling alone, being alone in a new city, it would settle me down and calm my nerves, and I still use it to this day. It's now just become a habit. So every time I'm about to travel, if I've got to go to Los Angeles or I'm back in Vancouver or I'm going over here, on the track, on the runway, I will play that song. And then there's also the other parallel, which is there were little silly things as well, like his jacket in there's a scorpion, right? That's my astrological sign. So when I first saw the film, I was like, oh my God, that jacket, I'm a Scorpio too. So there was that. Really silly little links, but for some reason it's important to me, or it somehow resonated with me. And the other thing about it was his anger. and I'm a very angry person, really like bad temper, and I think my first real acting gig in life is not showing it and smiling when someone disrespects me, staying calm and trying to see the bigger picture and like not wanting to get into it, because all I want to do is bring fire to it and burn the place down.
Exactly.
And I've always been like that since I was a teenager, and it never went. Even my dad, he thought it was testosterone or puberty. He was like, you'll calm down, and it never did. Still to this day, never went. I'm still in puberty, I think. I'm still hormonal. And that switch that Ryan Gosling played, the guy that, the straight-laced, just calm, night, whatever, simple, sweet, whatever, and then pushes buttons, and he'll rip your face off. That thing, it spoke to me, that duality.
And that song resonates.
And it resonates with me. So it's tied to a film, but it's still a part of me somehow.
I'm still trying to wait to hear what it is.
I guess it's just, again, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's so weird. It's maybe I need to scratch the surface even more. I put it in there because it spoke to me and it has meaning. But I mean, even I probably haven't fully understood why it's pushing these buttons in me. But I guess it does. I guess I feel dangerous. I think that's probably what it is. I feel dangerous at work, in situations. I feel like Two-Face. And I'm trying, but I want to be a family. I want to be a husband. I want to be a father. I want to be a professional. I want to be an actor, someone on a professional at work that people look up to. And for the most part, I can. And then there's this deep down. There's this thing inside, man. This fire. This thing, like this anger. This temper. This thing that I keep in control of. But it's so present, it's so aware, and it's so in me. And I guess maybe this song just calms me down. Maybe this song reminds me, like, to the other side. Stay cool.
All right.
Stay calm.
So
I don't know. So that's what it's coming at from. It's a weird link. Even I was on the drive over. I was like, it played in the car again, and I was like, why do I feel this so much? And I still can't put my words on it, but I tried anyway.
Okay. So this song is called
Night Call. Kavinsky. Okay. Yeah. No, I mentioned.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Nice call for Kavinsky. Right. You did. Oh, you did.
Which one is it?
Night Call, Kavinsky. Right here on Hollywood North Radio. That's the number 3 song for the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life, where the celebrities come to play. Welcome back to Hollywood North Radio. That was the number 3 song for the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life. Kavinsky.
Night Call. Yeah, Kavinsky.
Yeah. Dude, that song, it's like, I remember the whole elevator scene and everything.
The mood changed in this room on that song.
Totally.
It does something. I'm just saying. It does something.
It totally does.
About that song.
It totally does.
Yeah.
So now,
okay,
let's move on to the number 2 song for the soundtrack of your life.
These are quick. You ready?
Yep.
Rocky, Go in the Distance, Bill Conti. So this Go in the Distance, Rocky is my film, right? That series, and Go in the Distance. The message behind that it wasn't about winning. Rocky's journey was never about winning. It was about being the best he could be. It was about I'm gonna go the full distance. I'm gonna go all round. So I'm gonna be standing there at the end of my fight with Apollo, and that's what I want to achieve. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about anything other than just conquering your own demons and being the best you can be. And that message and this song is what I refer to all the time. When I was for iZombie, this song was playing in my headphones before I went in and did the tape. It was in my headphones again when I had to come back for the recall. And it's because it wasn't even about getting the role of iZombie. It was just about getting as far as I can do. I felt the opportunity was coming, and it was like, I just want to make sure I make this decision really hard for them before they pass on me. I'm going to give them an audition so hard. I'm going to go the distance.
Okay.
And that keeps changing in my life. Now going the distance is different. Whatever it is, even if it's just a day at work yesterday, that's a tough day. It's about going the distance.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's why this is my song.
So
Bill Conti.
Bill Conti, Going the Distance. Rocky. Right here on Hollywood North Radio. That's a number 2 song on the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life. Right here on Hollywood North Radio, where the celebrities come to play. There you have it. Going the Distance is the number 2 song of the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life. He is the star of iZombie, one of the stars.
One.
And he plays Ravi. And that was number 2. So now, the moment of truth. The number 1 song on the soundtrack of his life, Rahul Kohli's Life Is.
Jerry and the Pacemakers, You'll Never Walk Alone. And that is a trolling. Trolling is a big part of my life, right? So I'm actually trolling a lot of listeners right now. I'm about to play Liverpool Football Club's anthem, Down Your Airwaves.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
That's the number 1 soundtrack to my life. The message is clear behind the lyrics. You'll never walk alone, all right? It's about support. It's about you don't have to go on this journey by yourself. But it's also the anthem to my football club. I'm a Reds. And there's no explanation needed, man. That's what it is, what it is.
Yeah, and this one goes out to Shem Ellis.
Oh, this is definitely for Shem, one of the biggest Man United fans in Vancouver. How'd you like this, Shem?
Love you, Shem.
There you have it. This one, Go the Distance.
No, this is You'll Never
You'll
Walk
Never
Alone.
Walk
Jerry
Never
and the
Walk Alone.
Pacemakers.
There you have it. On the number 1 song on the soundtrack of Rahul Kohli's life, Jerry and the Pacemakers, You'll Never Walk Alone. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see y'all next week on Hollywood North Radio from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. right here. Or it's probably 2:10 because we always screw these guys over on Trust the Process. We'll see you guys next week right here on Hollywood North Radio. We'd like to thank all of our guests. 94. We'd also like to thank Chloe Morgan. We'd also like to thank Arlan Bruce for part 2 of his story. We're going to have part 3 next week. And my man, Rahul Kohli. And don't forget to watch iZombie. Catch up all the seasons 4, and you catch season 5 coming out maybe this fall, is it?
Next
fall.
Next spring.
Next spring, okay. Well, there you have it. I'm way early. So you catch it next spring. And I'm sure Rahul will be back.
Absolutely.
And we will talk about him, about some of his projects in the future. Thank y'all for listening. We'll see y'all next week. Hollywood North Radio, y'all, where the celebrities come to play. And stay tuned for Trust the Process right here on Hollywood North Radio. Save on Radio.
Hollywood North Radio, y'all.